You ever just step away for lunch and come back to find your entire life flipped upside down? That's what happened to me. I left my bulldozer here, my actual bulldozer, for 20 minutes to eat a sandwich, and when I came back, it was gone. Not stolen. Worse. Dragged by order of the HOA and dumped right into my own farm pond like it was a piece of trash. And standing over it all? Karen, arms crossed, smug smile, looking like she'd just saved the world. "You're contaminating the neighborhood entrance," she said, like she wasn't sipping water every day that my bulldozer had helped keep flowing for the last 3 decades. That machine wasn't some rusting piece of junk. It was the heart of a secret water system designed by my grandfather, something he spent his whole retirement building. And what Karen didn't know is, by sinking that machine, she just exposed the one thing the HOA had always tried to bury, the truth. My name's Jake Morrison. I'm 38, used to be a mechanical engineer in San Francisco, but I walked away from all that when Grandpa passed and left me his land. 50 acres, sitting right on the edge of a shiny, manicured HOA development called Sunset Ridge. That bulldozer she sank. It's not just a bulldozer. It's a disguised pumping unit, part of a network Grandpa built to keep this entire region's water flowing, especially during droughts and floods. Now here's where it gets personal. Karen wasn't just the HOA president. She was once my grandpa's brightest student. He taught her everything: hydraulics, aquifer mapping, flood prevention. She looked like she shared his dream of sustainable water systems. But then she stole his unpublished research and passed it off as her thesis. Tried to sue him when he confronted her. Broke his heart. He never talked about it again. But I remember that silence. Fast forward to the day it all went sideways. I was out there clearing storm runoff like Grandpa used to, parked the D6 by the edge of the road near the neighborhood, and went in for lunch. I came back and poof, it was being winched into the pond by some tow crew with Karen backing orders like she ran the world. "Under HOA authority," she said, waving a clipboard at me with some nonsense regulation about joint jurisdiction. "Your equipment's compromising the aesthetic of the entrance." I tried to explain. Tried to tell her it wasn't just equipment. But she smiled cold as Helen said, "Water always finds the lowest point. Today, your truck will too." And down it went, sank like a stone. But here's the part that made my skin crawl. As it disappeared into the water, I noticed something off. The water was moving weird. Grandpa had taught me how to read water like some people read music. What I saw told me something was very, very wrong. I bolted to Grandpa's workshop exactly as he left it. Tools neatly hung, everything in order. The monitoring system lit up like a Christmas tree. Pressure readings read across the board. The D6 had been the main pump, and now the whole network was going dry. I opened the emergency protocols binder and there it was: contract with the city, signed and notarized 35 years ago, making this farm responsible for emergency water support across the region. 3,000 people. I called the city. Got the usual bureaucratic runaround. No one knew the system even existed. The old-timers who did. Long retired. It was like Grandpa's legacy had vanished on paper. Which, I started to realize, was exactly what Karen had been counting on. Then came the call that knocked the wind out of me: Riverside Community Hospital. 12 patients admitted with dehydration. 3 were babies. 2 were elderly with kidney issues. All from Sunset Ridge. Their water. Barely a trickle. High in sediment, high in danger. That was the moment it all clicked. This wasn't just a property fight. It was a health crisis. So I lawyered up. Found a guy named Tommy Sharp, young, not afraid to go after an HOA. He helped me trace survey lines, pulled contracts, even drafted an injunction. But Karen, she was already spinning a new story. Held a community meeting with 40 families. Claimed the drought was the issue. blamed municipal aging pipes. She came armed with graphs, charts, polished lies. And then, just when it seemed like her narrative would hold boom, a woman from the back stood up. Said, "My husband works for the city. There's no infrastructure failure. He says it's something private that got shut down. Do you know anything about that?" Karen froze. Her face shifted for just a second. And that was all I needed. The next day, I hosted my own press conference. Set up a screen by the pond. Showed live water pressure data from Grandpa's old system. Then I played the footage underwater shots of the D6, intact, its pump still connected to the buried system. And then, the knockout blow. Dorothy. She was 80. Used to be a legal secretary for the city. And she stood up and said, "I was there when Harold signed that contract in '87. Karen came to me last month and offered $5,000 to forget it ever happened." The crowd turned. I mean, you could feel it shift. Then came the twist no one saw coming. The FBI called me. Turns out Karen had done this before in Colorado, Nevada. Sabotaging infrastructure to drop property values, then flipping the land through developer bodies. My bulldozer. Just the latest in her string of setups. One of her high divers. My own distant cousin Marcus working undercover for the feds. That night, Karen showed up at the pond again, trying to destroy evidence. Wearing a diving suit like she was filming a James Cameron documentary except she couldn't swim. She flailed, drank half the pond, and had to be dragged out by Marcus. And just as she was coughing up algae and liquid boom, FBI shows up. Cuffs her right there, still dripping. Charged her with conspiracy, fraud, racketeering. Her whole empire collapsed in a single afternoon. But the best part? Grandpa had prepared for this. He'd set up a legal fund, bought surrounding land to lock down the aquifer, and left me everything I needed to fight her. With the community behind me, we restored the system, started a non-profit, and now we're helping other towns protect themselves from exactly this kind of scheme. Sometimes, justice takes time. But like Grandpa always said, water finds its way home. So now I wanna hear from you. Was Karen just one corrupt official, or does this say something bigger about unchecked HOA power, forgotten infrastructure, and the cost of ambition? Drop your thoughts below. I wanna know what justice means to you when it's not just about property lines, but about who really protects the people when no one else is watching.